The best Warlock in the world is going full fire damage and he is pumping numbers that we once thought impossible. So let's see what he's doing different. The first thing that you're gonna notice being different is that about 17.5% of his damage is pet damage. His pet is pumping, and that's weird because he's going imp. The best quote-unquote pet for damage is the succubus, but he's not going that and he's still pumping more damage than a succubus. So what is going on here? It's gonna make a lot more sense when we look at the build right now. Let's do that. The first talent he is taking is improved imp. As you can see right here, 30% more damage on the imp. A lot of people take this talent for the demonology warlocks, but he's going destruction. So why is he taking this talent? You're gonna see in a minute here. Then he goes to destruction. He's gonna take cataclysm. Nice. He's gonna take cataclysm to get a little mana savings, less mana cost. And then he's gonna go for Bane. It decreases the casting time, you know, less time casting, more time pumping, obviously. And here he's gonna take improved Firebolt. This right here is gonna make the imp cast Firebolt faster, and it's a 2-second cast. It's gonna turn it into 1 second. Of course, there is the GCD also affects the imp, so in practice it is gonna make the Firebolt about 50% faster, more or less, something like that. Is a little complicated. And then he's gonna take Shadowborn. Shadowborn is just a fast cooldown. It does a bunch of damage when you drop it. That's it, it's just a cooldown. Now the funny thing about this talent and this talent is that they stack multiplicatively, not additively. So right here, 50% faster damage, 30% more damage period. That is not 80% damage, that is like 90% more damage. And that's not it, you're gonna see in a minute, you're gonna see now. Because the interesting thing about his runes is that he's taking an AoE rune for his single target damage. What the hell? He's taking Lake of Fire. This is his flagship rune. When you drop a Rain of Fire, it leaves like a consecrate on the ground and everybody standing on it takes 40% more fire damage. And that includes your pet's damage. Okay, so that's 40% more damage to you and the imp. So we got 40 times 50 times 30. That is about 170 something % extra damage on the imp. Do you see why he's going imp now? Then he's gonna take Chaos Bolt. This is just a nice cooldown too. It does a lot of damage. It goes through shields, and the best part of Chaos Bolt, it can't miss. That's why it's so good. It's really, really good. And then he's gonna take for the legs, he's gonna take Incinerate. Because Incinerate, look at this, it gives you 25% more damage on your fire spells. Sadly, this one doesn't affect the imp, but still, you know, 25% times 40%, that is like also about 80% more damage there. And I want to warn you, you should keep an eye for Warlocks, because with this setup right here, and it's only gonna get better, they are gonna be the hardest scaling caster in the game. They are only gonna get better, and this damage that you're seeing now is without Curse of Elements, so you just gotta wait and see that. The best rage for the Horde, of course, is Orc, because it gives you 5% more pet damage, and when your pet is 20% of your damage, it does add up, it does matter. And for the Alliance, it is Gnome for Intellect, because the more mana you got, the less life taps you gotta do, the more pumping you can do. Alright, I am gonna talk about your stat priority now. Of course, you wanna get all the hit you can get from your pieces, from the tailoring items, of course, all of that. But after that, your stat priority is fire spell damage. How much fire spell damage? Yes, that much. You have the best spell power scaling of any caster. You bet your silly pudding you are gonna take every single point you can. Your second best stat, okay, I guess, is intellect, because it gives you crit. Crit is kinda useless at this point in the game, but you also get mana, and the less life taps you gotta do, the more boom boom you can do, of course. And finally, stamina. Stamina is gonna give you a little more life taps, but of course intellect is much superior. I guess it makes the healer's job a little easier, but that's the healer's problem, screw them. Now comes the rotation. The rotation for maximum pumpage is a bit of a pain. There is a lot of buttons. It is simple, but there is a lot of buttons. Keep in mind, this is only gonna work if the boss is gonna survive more than 30 seconds. You are gonna drop Rain of Fire for 1 tick, where the boss is gonna stand, so you get the Lake Fire. Then you are gonna drop Corruption and Curse of Agony on him, and that's when you go for the Incinerate, Chaos Bolt, Shadowborn combo. This is a nuke. Even if you do not have a lot of gear, with this all at once, you are probably gonna hit top 1 in the DPS meters for a brief second because it is so much damage. If your tank is not very good and you are scared that you might pull aggro, you can do Immolate after the Chaos Bolt as a filler in between. Otherwise, you can just throw the Immolate afterwards. You do have to keep Immolate up at all times after that because it's a dot and it does a lot of damage. From then on, the rotation is super simple. You keep Lake of Fire and Immolate up at all times. You refresh Curse of Agony and when it runs out, and you're gonna use Chaos Bolt and Shadowborn on cooldown, Incinerate as a filler. You are not gonna refresh Corruption, as you can see. Why is that? Because Corruption is only mathematically worth it if you do a full duration of it, right? And most bosses in the game do not last enough to survive 2 Corruptions. So yeah, maybe in Akumai you can refresh Corruption once. I probably wouldn't do it, it's not that much more damage, but at the start it is always more damage. Always try to make sure that your imp is hitting at the right guy and your imp is fine and standing on the right spot. It is a bit of a pain, sometimes he bugs out, sometimes he just doesn't feel like doing his job, so you gotta keep in mind that. Your AoE rotation is super simple like before, but there is a tiny little twist now. You're gonna have to cast Incinerate every 15 seconds to get more damage on Rain of Fire, because you are gonna lose 1 second of improved damage, but the best way to do this is 1 Incinerate and 2 Rains of Fire in full and rinse repeat. It is pretty rare for an AoE pool to survive more than 15 seconds anyway, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Your consumables are gonna be first of all mana potions, because a mana potion is about 2 life taps, that's 2 GCDs, that's more damage. Also, I guess it helps the healers. Yay! You are also gonna take a Shadow Protection Potion before the raid starts, and you're gonna get a shield from it that is gonna last you an hour, very important. You can maybe sneak another one of those potions in between pools if you wanna make sure you got one for Kelris and Akumai. It's not a huge deal, but it helps, everything helps. We are also gonna take a free action potion on the second phase of Kelris, so we can stand on Kelris and still do damage without like all the boom boom that he does on you. You can also take a free action potion on Lady Cerberus if you wanna stand on the ice. You can just move off the ice, honestly. You got plenty of time to move away in this rotation. You got Shadowborn, that's an instant. You got Curse of Agony. You can probably move it if you really want to. Then we are gonna take Black Fathom Mana Oil. It is 2% hit and mana per 5. It is expensive, I know, but this is non-negotiable. It is so much damage that you're getting from this. You gotta have it. Finally, Smoke Sailfish is gonna be our food. It's gonna give us a little more mana per 5 on top of that. And the Elixir of Firepower is gonna give us even more fire damage, which is exactly what we need. You can also take Elixir of Wisdom. It's a little bit of intellect, it helps. Overall, the Warlock is performing way better on DPS than anybody expected. I think people were too focused on the Warlock tank, on the novelty of it, to ever realize it. But this build is making them both the second best AoE DPSer in the game and the strongest caster in the game, period, right now. And as you know, as I said, Warlocks are extremely good at scaling, so they are only gonna get stronger from now. I think it is a really good time to play a Warlock. Also, I forgot to say this, this build also doubles up as a decent Warlock tanking spec if you swap the runes. You wanna tank a dungeon with it, you can do it, try it. Subscribe, leave a like, join the Discord, and thank you for watching!